Welcome back, everyone, to literature. We're going to pick up on chapter 2. We finished chapter 1. It had 3 scenes, and this is a long chapter, so it's going to have several scenes also. Okay? So make sure you write your name and date on your paper. Please do that so your papers end up so that way I can put your papers in your notebook binder. Otherwise, I won't know what binder to put it in. And for the date, you want to put 10/20/20, October 20th, 2020. So it's 10/20/20. Okay. Now, the very first thing that we're going to identify as we read is we're going to look for the setting. In this scene, it will tell us both the place and the time. Because remember, setting is when and where. When is the time. It could be the time of the year. It could be the season. It could be the actual time, the hour time, or the month. It can be any time. And where the story takes place. In this case, it's not the story, it's the scene. So when and where the scene takes place. The other thing I want to help you with also is that sometimes when it gives us the when and where, it's not going to be in the same sentence. It can be in a separate sentence or even a separate paragraph within the scene. So when we see where this is taking place, we're going to keep reading until we find when it takes place. And then after that, I will show you on the board how to write when and where without having to write 2 different sentences or 2 different paragraphs. All right, we can make it shorter, condense it more. All right, so let's begin. Your book should be open to chapter 2. And the name of this chapter is Faith. Okay, your finger should be on the very first word, and you're going to read together with me. It says, "Wake up, son, and dress quickly. We are going to Altdorf together." William Tell's deep voice awakened Walter. He jumped from bed as he remembered his father's promise of the night before. Soon father and son were tramping down the rough trail to Berglin. They passed through the tiny hamlet as William Tell nodded to right and left. Walter nodded too, for he knew almost every child and dog of the village. So as he's walking down the trail, if he would see someone, he would say hi by nodding his head rather than saying hi. Okay? Soon the two Tells were on the downward path. The sun was just rising. All right. So where are they? Or where is this taking place? They're going to Altdorf. They're going to the town or the city nearest them. And when did they go? The sun was just rising. So I'm going to show you on the board how to write when and where without having to write 2 entire paragraphs. Okay, so if we go back to the very beginning of the paragraph where it says wake up, see that? Wake up, son, and dress quickly. We are going to Altdorf. Okay, our when for the setting is going to Altdorf. That's where they're at. They're on their way to Altdorf. Now, all that came before when, where they were going, wake up, son, dress quickly, we're not going to write that, okay? So when those of you who have been in my class before, they know this, but William, David, Nathan, and Josias, I really want you to pay attention because what I'm going to show you now is something that you're going to have to do every single time that you do quote when you quote someone. You're going to do this for my class, Mr. Vaughn, Miss Margaret's, Mr. Plumley's. So you really need to learn this, all right? So you always begin when you take something that someone said. So the author wrote this book. We're taking a piece of what he wrote. We have to quote it because these are not your words. This is not your thinking. This is what someone else was thinking. So you have to put the quote. Then you move 1 space over and you're going to put 3 dots in a row on your line, not in the air, on the line. These three dots, it's called an ellipsis. Ellipsis means that you left out some words. You didn't write all the words, okay? You're letting your reader know that the author said something else, but you left it out. You're not going to write it because you feel it doesn't tell you, it has nothing to do with when or where. It has nothing to do with the setting. So you write your ellipsis, you pick up where it says going to Altdorf, uppercase A because it's a name of a city. Then remember, it tells us the sun was just rising. We had to read over to the next paragraph to find out when. All those words in between, we're not going to write them, but you need to let your reader know that you left some words out and you write ellipsis again. Or you make your ellipsis. And that's supposed to be crossed. The sun was just rising. Okay? And I'm going to make these bigger so you can see them. When you finish, you're going to put a comma because you're not finished yet. You're going to put a quote. You're going to move over and put a quote at the top. A small p, not an uppercase P, a small p, and 22. This is the page where we found this quote. You tell your reader where you found the quote. You found it on page 22. So if they want to go back and check to see if you said it the same way they said it, they can go back and check. All right? So this is our setting. Okay, so now we're going to continue. We're going to keep reading. I'm going to read into the next page. And hold on just a second. Okay, so we're going to keep reading. We're starting the last paragraph on page 20. We finished where it says the sun was just rising. Okay, when we get into Altdorf, son, said the father, keep me until I say you may play with the children. I'm sorry, keep by me until I say you may play with the children. I will visit the tanner's shop and trade for something for your mother. These skins on my back are worth something. She did not wish me to go to town today, for she is fearful that I might talk too much or too loudly. Let me stop there for a minute, but keep your finger there. He's going to the tanner's shop. The tanner is the man in the town who works with animal skins, and they use them to make whatever they might need. They might jackets, purses, bags, whatever they might need. The tanner is the one that uses the skins. So remember, he would hunt for game, and then they would skin the animal, use the meat for food, and then the skins he would take them to town and trade them, and get probably paid for the skins, and then he would use that to buy things they needed at home. All right, we're going to pick up where we left off. You know the secret we must keep, Walter nodded. We will keep it together. And you and I, said Tell. He was in good spirits, as he always was when he went to Altdorf. Now they entered the ever-narrowing valley. It was fun to sing and shout and then listen to the sounds of their voices echo ever more faintly. Tell's strong dark legs moved along so fast that Walter could not sing much. He was so out of breath running. Then, as the trail curved, Walter pointed to a cave in the hillside where lived a monk, well loved by the people of the land of Uri. He said, Father, it must be lonely for Brother Claus to live all by himself in that dark place and just pray all the time. Keep your finger there. I'm going to pause there for a minute. On the opposite page is a picture of Brother Claus. A monk is someone who has set their lives apart. They don't marry. It's the male version of a nun. They dedicate their life to serving God and to prayer. And they usually wear some type of out robe. They wear a robe that helps you identify that they are a man of God who serves God, and they usually live in solitude. Sometimes they live together. Okay, so let's pick up. Perhaps it would be, perhaps it would be for you, son, replied his father, but Claus seems happy. When any one of the mountain folk is ill or without bread, Claus comes to comfort him. When a woman loses her husband or a mother loses her child, Claus is there to pray with them. All men, Walter, do not like to do the same thing. Some like to hunt, others like to fight, and still others to till the soil. Till the soil means to turn the soil so you can prepare it for growing growing vegetables, growing crops. Claus is a man of God, and I am sure he is happy even if he lives alone in that dark cave yonder. Yonder means way over there. Soon Walter saw the old roofs of Altdorf and the stone towers of Zwinguri, Gessler's castle. So Gessler's castle, there's a name for it. It's called Zwinguri. Then Tell's happy mood changed. Walter heard him mutter, "That knave, as busy as a rat in a wheat rick. The towers grow higher each day. Soon Gessler will live there and spy upon all that we do and put freemen behind iron bars." So William Tell was not very happy with what Gessler was doing. All right, we'll stop reading right there. So we're looking for the plot now. That I read up to the end of scene 1. Scene 1, the entire scene 1 that we read tells us that William Tell had a purpose. And his purpose was to go to town. And in the last chapter, it told us why he was going to town. He wanted to find out if people were talking, if anybody had found out what their plans were for New Year's Eve. So the plot was for him to go. So we need to find the quotes that tells us what they were doing. What were they doing? They were on their way to Altdorf. So there's one sentence that tells us that. And if we go to, I'm trying to find it here. Oh, here it is. It's in the very first paragraph. And I didn't stop and identify it then because I wanted to read the entire scene so you could see that nothing else was happening in this scene, only that William Tell was on his way to Altdorf. So we're going to write the second paragraph. Soon father and son were trampling down the rough trail to Berlin. They passed through the tiny hamlet as William Tell nodded to right and left. So this is what you're going to write. And remember, the plot is the event that makes up the story, and every event has a cause. So this is our event. What's happening in the scene? Father and son were going down the rough trail to Berlin. Okay? You open with a quote, and we close with a quote. Don't forget your apostrophe. You're going to tell the reader what page you found this quote on, page 20. It's a small p, not an uppercase P. Berlin is the name of the town. You're going to put B, uppercase B. You're going to begin your sentence with the uppercase S. So this is the event of our scene. All right? Go ahead and pause your video if you need more time. So I bet you're looking at all the writing behind me and you're just like, oh no. Okay, don't start writing yet because some of you are not going to write everything, all right? So for our plot, the plot is made up of events that make up the story or the scene, and every event has a cause. So you wrote your event, now we're going to write the cause. And I just remembered I forgot something. Okay, so the cause comes first and then the event. Most of the time. So the cause was mentioned in our book before we read the event. But in this case, the cause came back in chapter 1. I'm not going to make you go back, but back in chapter 1, remember when William Tell told his wife, I go because I must go, because your dad says that he thinks Gessler is coming up with a trap to catch us, and I need to find out if some of the men betrayed us and told on us that we were going to have a revolt. Okay, that is the cause for our event. That's why he's going to Altdorf. So William, Nathan, Josias, and David. You don't have, this is very long. You don't have to write the whole thing. So those of you, the spelling group number 1, are only going to write what's in blue. Everyone else is going to write everything. The cause is always in parentheses. So all of you are going to write the parentheses. Okay, spelling group number 1, this is where you're going to start writing. You're going to write, okay, I'm sorry. No. Let me erase that. Spelling group 2 and 3, ignore anything that's in blue. Just pretend it's not there. Ignore these quotes, these underlines, this ellipsis, this quote. Ignore the blue quotes. This is for spelling group number 1. Spelling group number 1, you're going to write a parentheses and then a quote, and you're going to write Gessler. You're going to write ellipsis. Then you're going to jump here. After the ellipsis, you're going to write is scheming, period. Okay, all the way. And then, I'm sorry, it's going to go all the way. You're going to write Gessler, ellipsis, is scheming, period. I must learn if any of our own men have betrayed us to him. You're going to write up to here, and you're going to put a quote. Then you're going to close your quote. I'm sorry, then you're going to put your page. You don't need this right here. You're going to put page 16. You're going to write that and then close it with a quote. That's blue. Actually, okay, the blue is for spelling group number 1. That's all you're going to write. You're going to write this. Gessler, ellipsis, jump down here, is scheming. I must learn if any of our men have betrayed us to him. Close it in quotes and put your page and close with let me move my, I don't know if you guys can see all that. Okay. So I hope that's not too confusing. We're going to stop there and we'll continue on Thursday. We'll finish our with our characterization and leading idea. Now I want to remind you that it is your job to look for the alliteration. An alliteration is 2 or more words that are next to each other in one sentence that start with the same letter. For example, he has, they both start with H. We will, they both start with W, all right? Some of you have not been doing that. Look for what the reading that we did today or the one that we're going to do on Thursday. Look for an alliteration and write it in the yellow section of your paper where it says style. That's a style of writing. A style is the author's own special way of storytelling. Make sure that you put quotes around what you wrote and put the page number where you found it. So if I want to look it up, I can look it up. All right, because I'm your reader. All right, so go ahead and pause your video. This is the end of our lesson. Bye-bye.